Good morning, everybody. It's Dee here. Um, Welcome to the week beginning the 3rd of February and some Astro weather for this week. Um, this week is and next week are probably the better half of February. Um, before we get bogged down with all the cardinals in the personal planets hitting those heavy duty ones. So this week will be a bit of light relief in a lot of ways, and there's some nice little aspects around that you can make the most of. Um, so yeah, welcome to February. Finally out of the January vibe, but not quite out of the Saturn feelings as well. Obviously, with Aquarius being co-ruled by Saturn, and we've still got a lot of that heavy duty stuff to go. Before we sort of see an end to that. So we start the week with a really nice little aspect. We have got Venus sextile to Saturn, and I really like this because I think it combines the idealistic and the practical really well. So it is a great opportunity over the next couple of days, because this aspect is sort of exact for the 3rd and 4th, to get on with making some of your dreams a reality. So whatever you've been hoping for in terms of creative expression, now would be the time to start to lay down the vibe for putting that into reality. So it's about planting seeds. And the thing about Saturn is that nothing comes about overnight. So it will be things that will take time, and things that you will have to tend and water and take special care of in order to make them manifest in the months to come. But it is certainly the right time to make a start. So if you have plans for any kind of creative endeavors, then now would be the time to sort of start to lay the foundations for that, and use this aspect to its full advantage. Um, Also, if you think of Venus in her guise of relationships as well, it could be a time to review some of your relationships and see how they're working for you. So if you have become too bogged down with the mundane and the everyday, now could be the time to harness some of that Venus in Pisces energy, and to think back to even where you wanted to be at the start of your relationship, when you were still idealistic about these things, and bring back some of that feeling. Because Venus in Pisces is all about the romance, it's all about the fantasy, and um, making things beautiful and dreamlike, and um, say just otherworldly. So it, and with her being sextile to that lovely grounded Saturn, it's about taking some of those ideas and then making them manifest. So a good opportunity to sit down with your partner to maybe look at ways in which you can bring some of that idealism back, or that romance back into your relationships, to plan date nights, to plan for trips, to look at longer term plans for each other, and how you are going to sustain your relationship over time, and what that will look like for you. I think that one of the problems with particular longer term relationships is that you can get too bogged down in the everyday, so that everything becomes a routine, and you forget almost about each other and why you are together, and the things you enjoyed about each other. So life kind of gets in the way, and kids get in the way, and jobs get in the way. So it's about how you can bring that romance back, and how you can take time out for romance, and for your dreams and ideals. So over the next couple of days, maybe I know it's the beginning of the week, but arrange a date, or just even just take some time out, turn the telly off, talk to each other, um, talk about where you want to be and what you would like to be as a couple in the future. Excuse me. So that is one side of it. And so the other side of it is, say, putting down ideas for your creative projects, and where you would like them to be over the next months and even years. And say, just dream big, plan ahead, water the seeds of your projects. Don't lose sight of your dream and vision, but also make sure that you are grounding your dreams in reality and planning and making those milestones there for yourself so that you can continue to develop and to grow your ideas. So that's Venus sextile Saturn, and that's at the beginning of the week this week on the 3rd and the 4th. And along with that, which I think also fits in nicely to this, you have got Mercury moving into Pisces on the 3rd, and then making a sextile aspect to Uranus on the 5th. So again, this is about idealism, fantastical ideas, but also, thinking differently and thinking in new and interesting ways so that you can look at existing problems with a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh mind. And although Mercury doesn't particularly like being in Pisces because it's a bit foggy and woolly for Mercury, who likes to be razor sharp and concise and full of facts and all the rest of it, in Pisces, it does allow us to think differently and to dream differently and to allow for a different kind of communication. So when you think of being in a meditative state and allowing your mind to connect with external forces and divine energy, that would definitely be a Mercury in Pisces vibe. So it's that kind of idea of connection and tapping into information and ideas from higher plane, from other realms. It's psychic energy, it's messages from the other side, it's using divination to plan for your future and see where you're heading. So, if you do use any kind of divination cards or anything of that nature, the Mercury in Pisces time is the perfect time to do that. And, those flashes of insight that can come from Uranus, which happen on the 5th, could be the perfect time for looking at what those cards are telling you or what that divination method is telling you. So it's about communicating in different ways and not just using the logical linear methods of communication. And some people struggle with that more than others. If you are of a particularly airy, Geminian bent, you might find that trying to communicate in a Pisces fashion is very difficult for you and doesn't seem easy. I mean, it really does depend on what else you've got in your chart. The other rule, the planet that's ruled by Mercury, Virgo, which is obviously opposite to Pisces, again can find that quite difficult to access. But it's about sort of switching off that side of your brain and allowing other information to come in, and you can do that through meditation, through yoga, through music. It's just finding that opportunity to shut down that sort of more logical side of your brain. so that you can allow these other messages to come in. And we have got Mercury in Pisces for the next 6 weeks, some of which will be retrograde. We start the shadow phase on the 2nd, or we have just done yesterday, and go into Mercury retrograde proper in the middle of the month. And Mercury will go all the way back and into Aquarius again. So the muddiest of muddy waters, but I think it gives us the opportunity, as with all retrogrades when that happens, to be able to go internally and to go back over things and to think again and review how we've been doing things, the information that we've received, the conversations that we've had, the information that we've been presented with, to sort of go over those things again and look at that with fresh eyes. And if any sign can do that, it would be Pisces, because it does not think in that kind of straightforward way. It thinks in abstract terms. And it's how you cope with that will depend upon, what exists in your chart already, but also about maybe you just need to look at things in a different way, and Uranus certainly gets us doing that. So it's about being open to the newness and the revolutionary ideas that Uranus can bring into our lives, and to maybe not dismiss them so easily as being just madcap and strange. There may be some good solid nuggets in there that you can get something out of and incorporate into your life, and maybe look at things that you've struggled with in a different way, and then hopefully finding the answers as a result of that. And then as the week goes on, we have got Venus moving into Aries on the 7th. And this gives us a little blast of fire energy, and which is something we've definitely been lacking over the last couple of months, with loads of heavy duty Saturn Capricorn vibe been going down. So Venus in Aries, even though it's not the best place for Venus, because obviously, Venus is there in the sign of the god of war. One of the positive things about Venus in Aries, it is very independent, very forthright, and gives us the opportunity to strike out on our own and do things in our own individual way. So again, depending on what else you've got in your chart, will depending on how easily you flow with that kind of energy. But if you do want to make the most of it, it is about think of yourself as Xenia Warrior Princess for the next 4 weeks. So getting out there, doing your own thing, being independent, not relying on others, doing it for you. That's the thing about Venus in Aries. It's about doing things that are just for you. And even if, that's just a little section of the day where you can find that time, whether it be just having a bath, whether that be taking a class, whether that be just locking yourself in a room and doing a bit of meditation for 10-15 minutes. Any of those things will satisfy the Venus warrior energy that is around. So it is a good time, if you want to go with the flow and go with the natural energies around us, to do some of those things. And I think that blast of fire, that nice dry energy, will not go amiss at the moment, like I say, because it provides that kind of variety of energy that we so desperately need when when we've been inundated with heavy duty earth energy. So it gives us that bit of lightness, and she is joined by the full moon in Leo. So this weekend is a great opportunity to feel a little bit lighter and brighter, and to maybe go out and be sociable. Now that we've got January over with, you can come out of hibernation, even if it's just for the weekend, and go and hook up with friends and do something a little bit more light-hearted and sociable. Just like Leo likes to do, sort of being warm and generous, and big-hearted and say being with your friends and just enjoying that kind of light-hearted company. And Venus in Aries, again, if its fellow fire sign, will be happy to join in the party, um, and bring that extra bit of fire to the picture, and say just to have a little bit of light-hearted fun. And it's about gathering your rosebuds as you may this weekend, because so the second half of February sort of gets a lot heavier. So if you just want that opportunity just to let loose a little bit in February, this weekend is the time to do that. Um, so that you can enjoy being sort of free and independent and happy-go-lucky for a little while at least, until we're brought back down to earth again on Monday morning, back to the Saturn vibes again. So yeah, quite a nice little week ahead to make the most of. With the Mercury in Pisces, just watch out for the wooliness of it. It can get quite exasperating sometimes if the messages don't come through. And so as we start the shadow phase before Mercury turns retrograde in a couple of weeks. So enjoy yourselves this week. Make the most of this little respite into fire territory. And yes, just have a good week. See you later. Bye.